What is up with Crenshaw Boulevard? You have to have multiple switches and at least 15 batteries to go down there or don't show up.
No, you can cruise. It's a
You
cruise.
could get embarrassed too.
Oh, you'll get embarrassed. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna get embarrassed if you're not on Crenshaw, ready to go.
I've heard all the stories, man, and I know you've got more.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I am Joe Ray, and this is Wired Down, the podcast show. We have a familiar guest for everybody that's out there. He represents the Individuals Car Club, but you represent a whole lot, and it goes with your name.
Yes.
Because
sir.
you Big Dwight, he likes that name Big spelled with two G's. You'll find out after this. He's got a lot of big stories to tell. Introduce yourself to the low riding fan base, the audience out there.
How you doing? My name is Big Dwight. I am an individual member / president now. 45 years. I've been watching the club grow. I'm a 40-year member, and
Are you correcting me?
yes, a little bit.
You've been around a long time.
A little bit. I can help you out anytime.
Oh no, you're helping me out by claiming all those years. I don't feel that old anymore.
Yeah. You know, it's a beautiful situation, and I'm appreciative and glad that you invited me up today, Joe.
Hey Dwight, you guys have been around since 1976, and you're almost catching up to the Big 5-0.
Yes,
A lot of great memories, huh?
a lot of great memories. We this is our 49th year anniversary this year, and it's an amazing time. We are incorporating dance, uh 3-day events. That's what we always do. We always do a day in front of the 4th, or a day behind, or however the 4th of July falls on. I remember we got together on the 45th.
We got to get to El Dorado Park near Long Beach for your 45th.
Yes, you did. Thank
That
you
was
so
a show
much.
by itself.
Yes.
That was a big cake you guys threw out there that day for that anniversary, that birthday, because all the car clubs went out there. I saw everybody out there, and I really don't go to those events sometimes. And people, like other things, I don't make it out there, but there's only me sometimes, and we low ride full time. It's 24 hours, and sometimes you need to take a break or a refresher. And I don't go to everything. I finally got my ass out there, and I was shocked at the support for you guys, and that goes a long ways. Those 45 years, you didn't put it to waste. You guys got out there, and you guys were well loved.
Yeah, and thank you for coming out.
Yep.
That showed a great support, because that was something that people don't think of, the character of you in the lowrider culture, that the different levels of lowriding, you wouldn't come down or something. And it's like, no, Joe's a human. You just find a way to talk to him.
I should have been there a long time ago, because I know what I represent from, and I got to recognize what's really going on out there. And you learn something being editor back then. You learned something every day, and being out there, and all the faces that I saw, no one stared or said, "What? He's here?" No, everybody came pretty much and greeted me like they greeted everybody there. Everybody was welcome. It was a beautiful scene, man.
Yeah. And so what it is, every year we do that. And all the chapters are one or two chapters, one or two people bring a car or two per chapter. That's why if you look at us, we're individual car club. And if you look at the license plates, it shows you that we're worldwide, because we ask us, if we can't come together at least once a year, everybody should come together as a chapter or a group of people. And individuals, we're that type of people that we have to come see each other.
How did the individual start?
Man, me personally, my position was the individuals is I seen Charles Clayton. And when I seen Charles Clayton at the time, I seen him in a pink 67. I had a green 68. I didn't know he was an individual yet, because it wasn't even brought all the way around who he was or what he was about. I seen this pink Chevy, and it turned me on. 67, mirror on the side, straight laces, hot. And I'm an aggressive low rider, so that just turned me on all the way. And I said, I want to be an individual when I seen him. But I grew up in multiple clubs, but being around multiple clubs. But he caught my attention. Then I met a guy named Dino that I knew before I knew Charles Clayton.
Hmm.
But I didn't know Dino was an individual because there wasn't no plaques yet. You know
Right.
what I mean? I
Right.
think the only plaque I seen at the time was Majestics. You know what I mean? And that's, growing up in Compton, that's what I seen. And I come little outskirts of LA, then I went back into Compton. So I didn't see no other plaques. You know what I'm saying? So I was learning the process of that. And once I seen the club, I met Charles Clayton through a guy named Monk. And Monk was from grew up out of Main Street area. He was one of the founders or helped Main Street Mafia for Life Car Club. And being around him, he was like, man, Charles a cool guy. And I said, then I want to get to know him. And then I came along and I met him. And then in the process of the club, I heard about Cuda, but he wasn't riding at the time. He was retired, raising his kids, raising his family. So I was like, there, I came on as a member.
How were you influenced into lowriding? You're from Compton?
Yes, sir, born and
There
raised.
you go. What was your main influence to get you into lowriding?
So my main influence, I grew up off of Central and Alondra, and it was a lot of low riders when I was growing up. It was the 64 Chevy Club.
Uh,
You remember
yeah, I
them?
remember that.
So that was like Bird, Onion, Meathead, all them guys that had cars. And I lived right in the middle of them. So I used to run, hit they switch, run away, get a German. I'll take the lick.
Mhm.
Forget it. Hey,
Yeah.
if I get to touch your car, clean your car, or be something in your car, that's what it did. It turned me on because it brought unity. Like you could see the guys who grew up into lowriding, how close they was. And I wanted to be growing up like that. I wanted to be close to my peers and my people that I like. And so I got influence from them. The 64 Chevy Club, then Ronnie Como, he had the Monte Carlo Club, you know what I mean? And he was a great influence. I stayed directly behind him. I seen him in 77, 78, roundabout, front and back of 76 Monte Carlo. That was phenomenal to me. That was a brand new car.
Hmm.
And it just turned me on to watch that.
What You've come a long ways. How long have you been president now?
I've been president going on 3,
3 years.
but I was vice president for about 20 plus because I wasn't feel I was ready for being a president. So I went through every phase. Sergeant of Arms, what is it? The guy from the water boy to to the one. I ran every part because a good president has to be, to me, one that played all the roles. Because you can't just be a good president saying, I'm the president now and I know what I'm doing. No, you got to run the roles. You got to learn how to clean tires just as well, charge batteries just as well, be a great passenger before you're a great driver. Like these days, you don't even have great passengers no more. You used to depend on your passenger.
A good president is only as good as his VP,
It's only as good as
and
his
you do
VP.
all the work. But I mean, there's a lot of experience behind it, though.
Oh, VP? Oh, it's a lot of, it's honest you to, not to say that word, but you're like the runner.
Yeah.
Period, point blank. I could say Aaron Boy or whatever it want to be. Use that one that has to make sure the guy that just getting in the club can match up to the president. It's work, man. It's work. I was a VP. I could give or take saying 27 years probably, because Lolo was the president at the time. Because our club had multiple presidents.
How many chapters in individuals?
Right now, give or take, we 28 strong, 27 to 29.
Right.
Because you got, a chapter is 5 cars plus. So some of the chapters right now are struggling to get back on board because, each chapter, or just like each person, goes through things. Some days a chapter could be, some years, a chapter can be 50 members. Then it could break down to 2 because of life experience, and that's give or take where we at right now because we got like 3 chapters coming along right now for sure. We got a we're working on Hawaii. We're working on SVG, and we got an Australian look right now.
You
And
guys are worldwide.
yes, worldwide.
Worldwide problems sometimes, or
World,
everybody's pretty unique, like every other member you run into, doesn't matter chapter. Because you guys are all good.
but it's a job.
Oh, yeah. Job and a half.
It's a job because, like you said, you have multiple personalities. There's multiple people. If you
But
think
they're all individual.
they all individuals at the end of the day,
That's where the name came from.
that's where they are. They're
Yeah,
individual. They're
yeah.
individual character,
one,
individual
yes.
person. Period. Point blank. If you catch it, it's like this. You know that wherever you grew up at, each person is a different individual. You know what I mean? So can you imagine that 50 times
Yeah,
more?
do the math. Yeah, right. That's pretty good. But I mean, leadership.
Leadership.
Yeah, you pass down the traditions.
Yes.
A lot of old members in the club, original members, still there to this day.
No, we just revamped the club.
Yeah.
So right now you have old members. They're retired members, but they still come along and be around. But right now we just revamped a new vice, new sergeant of arms, new business coordinator this year, and because the mother chapter, that's Los Angeles, we have to get on board because every chapter, can't be a privilege. Bottom line, bro, it's nothing else to be said. Can't feel entitled. You can't feel privileged because some people think, because you're the mother chapter and that's anywhere around where we don't have to put as much as work as the newcomers. No, you have to put more
It's got to be
in.
even across the board.
It
Then
has to be even across the board.
level playing field,
Double.
and that's why you guys stand out.
Thank you.
Doesn't matter where you go.
No,
I don't care about the name.
No.
I mean, the name on the back. Every one of your members are like that.
Yeah.
That's what I've always liked.
Thank you very much.
And be around that long time. You have to be successful at something, right?
Yes, you do.
With all the chapters you have and going worldwide, Black and Gold. How did the name, we pretty much know about how the name became. You just defined that right now. Why Black and Gold, and who designed the plaque?
Well, we can start off with Kuda designed the plaque,
Mm-hmm.
but Charles Clayton got the plaque.
Okay.
I'm just bottom line, put it on the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's Kuda designed it, came in his head, he rocked it as a shirt. Charles Clayton took it further, the next step further when it was passed down, and he made the plaque. Black and Gold, when we was around, when it first started, the beginnings that I remember, we used to be, I think I want to say black and gray.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember back then, every club had black and gray almost. So from there, I don't know. From my memory, we started playing with colors, and the black and gold stood out heavy. But I never thought it'd be a tradition of the culture of cars and, low riding. I never thought that because the color, every time you look up now, it's black and gold, and I like it.
If you look back now, and I do sometimes too. I mean, we're Black and Gold, the
Yes.
Imperials, oldies, Carnales Unidos. There's a lot of black and gold car clubs. Blue, maroon, the click, and all that. But when you look back, who you are today and what you've seen, all these decades of low riding, you've seen it from all different car clubs and how low riding's changed now, so to speak. When you can go back and look back, you look at that plaque design, would you change it now? Would you change your colors looking at everything? Or are you grateful from the early beginnings, and did they get lucky in the mix? Because you can't argue with it. I mean, I innovate. I come up with this. I think of a lot of different things, and I go back to my car club's plaque and I think, wow, what a design. Perfect colors. I wouldn't change them to purple and silver. I'm grateful for all of that. And I think if I was back then in those times and they told me, well, what name should we come up with? What should the lettering be on the plaque? Design at the foundry? What colors would you choose? I look at all the different football teams, and there's a lot of different colors. That's what I would go by, sports teams. I wouldn't change a thing, thank God. And maybe it was meant to be. Do you see something like that?
I am.
You get any of your chapters that want to change the logo or
They want to put colors in it
in different colors?
and match your car, match your shirt. That we're not a Skittle car club. You know what I mean? I don't see running around here. My preference. I see us as a team. When you see black and gold, you see low riding.
Right.
I don't see nothing else now. I'll be looking at a guy and I see your shirt or anything and I see black and gold. I'll be like, that's low ride. No, I wouldn't change nothing. Because if you look at it, you're always seeing somebody new clubs and everything got your style. It's not, no, I wouldn't change it. Because I like the way it stands. I like how strong it stands. I really like it. I really do. No, I wouldn't change nothing.
What was your first car?
My first car was a 1968 Catalina.
Okay.
That was my first car. I was probably about the 8th grade summer school job. Uh, my mother
You
found
low rided in that?
I got close. I
I
don't
mean, they look from the side, they look like a 68
68 Chevy.
Chevy, except for the back and tail
Yeah, the
lights
back
and
and tail
the
lights,
big front grill.
big old grill.
Pontiac, yeah.
So it was my first summer car, so it wasn't near the cleanest, but it was all solid color interior. Uh, I got big hubs on it. I got lucky to get some big hubs.
Mm.
I had the Pioneers in the back. First, I had the power booster ones that you push the button, they boost up loud and down. Then I turned around there and got some wheels. I had 721s in the front, 520s in the back because the car set low. And I rode it for a little while and I traded the whole car for a front hydraulic setup with no other car.
And going back into those days in South Central, Compton area especially, another world by itself. They never really got recognized that much. I've had conversations, the first 520s came from there.
Yeah.
We were happy to hop
Yeah.
tall cans on Whittier Boulevard. And I heard stories, if you go back to South Central, Compton area, they're hopping 2 tall cans.
Yeah.
First 520, I saw the first 560 somebody mentioned. No. South Central already has a 520. So there wasn't, I know it's predominantly Hispanic. And over the years, those numbers have come down and it's more all different types of nationalities now, but that's only because low riding has expanded and grown. And the recognition out in that area that I mean, Crenshaw is a boulevard by itself. We mention Whittier Boulevard all the time because that's where we were around and that's what we see just down the street. But Crenshaw was just as hot. You grew up into that whole culture back then.
Yep.
If the 520s came from there and your brothers were already hopping cars past, getting off the ground past tall cans, what else is going on down there? I know there were leg pipes. There were the organ pipes back then. You saw some of that. Even in the middle 70s,
Yes.
you saw some of that. Painting the wheel wells white, the bunny ear antennas, which I hope that never goes away. The wrought iron front grills, the crazy paint jobs. That was another world. It took a long time for Lowrider Magazine to even get into the picture, and they were showing Northern California and then Montebello, but they never went any farther than that. And you guys are out there doing your own style, doing your own thing out there. And in that city, and San Diego's the same way too. I'll go into New Mexico. Everybody had their own styles, but they were innovating. And who's to know who came up with the first hydraulics? What are the styles did you see? Who were the innovators for you? Name some of the. I know hydraulics. You can go, but you can drop Gary May right now on me.
Yeah. For one, I met Gary May in the Lowrider Association. Well, I seen him, but I met Gary May once or twice through Charles Clayton because Charles Clayton was getting his hydraulics built by him. But my motivators was like a guy named D.D. Tate. That was somebody in my neighborhood, had a Malibu 65 Chevy front and back. Ronnie Como was one of my guys that had the Monte Carlo. He had a 64 Chevy, suicide doors he was making where they drop to the ground, drop top antennas, cut top, the teardrop antennas in the back, sunken back lights. He
And this
took
is going back when?
this was the 79, 78.
Yeah.
And
I've seen pictures in the 60s of the same thing you're describing right now.
yep,
Then.
and that's where I was raised from that era
Uh-huh.
where the painter was also custom. And I mean, can basically do anything. The body man basically knew how to do anything. You know what I mean? Now you can't get nobody to fix a door lock really without it
You
making
can't
sense.
replace those painters back then. Who were the famous painters out there?
Oh, at the painters was the Parker at the time, uh, the Parker boys. Uh, I remember
Doc was out there already,
Doc was
right?
out there. Doc was out there. Will was out there. Willie's, Russ.
Anything going on out there that was innovated first? First cut bumpers, wrought iron front grills,
I don't see.
hopping, anything that the stories that you hear, they were already out before everybody, because we'll never know who the first one is that came out with bunny ears, antennas,
No.
or cut bumpers. Who started that fad? Where were the first wire wheels when they came out? I saw them in 76, True Spoke. I saw the first 560 in the 72 parking lot at my high school.
Yep.
But there's stories that wheel was out, that tire was already out, but it wasn't a 560, it was a 520.
Yeah, because
And
a lot of people didn't notice. Just like when we was growing up, when I first started seeing Xenos,
yeah,
you know, shit, we had to get the knockoffs off a Jaguar.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they was out already, and you could go how far back that been. And my first thing I seen moons, hubs, rockets. Growing up were the ones that came off the car, where you better not tighten the lug wrong because they really didn't fit and you grooved them in. You know, all the way I got into big hubs, but I've seen wire wheels, laces, uh, all of that, and it was fun watching the stages of that because all of them didn't fit on the car. People didn't know what tires to get. 520s we found out came off a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody did not know that. You know, and the innovators that taught me how to do this was good. San Diego, I moved to San Diego in 1980. So I grew up around the International Car Club. And that was a multi-race club. And it turned me on because that's what made me also want to be individuals. Because when I came to being an individual, you know, I said, I'm going to grow this club to be a multi-race club. I don't want this club to be just one-sided because a car is not racist. A car has
No, and neither is low riding.
these are low
The world may be sometimes, but the world of low riding is not.
No.
You're in the same program as we are. You have the same problems. You break down, you got oil all over you, and you understand, what they say out there, man. You understand what it is to try to live that life,
Yeah.
the goods and the bads, and we all struggle through it.
Yes. And we just got to help our community because at the end of the day, Lowrun is our own community. That's our own community. If you wake up, you might see, like, for instance, at a car show, you might see thousands of people. That's a community. And we all shaking hands and loving each other and giving each other compliments on their cars. You know, I street ride. I'm just really learning the show thing. My club was known off of street show cars. So your car had to be clean enough to be in the show, but pretty enough to stay on the street. And I turned around there from there and just watched our club just grow, grow, grow. And now we're learning more because that's all it is, still learning stage. How to incorporate everybody together. I'm enjoying that, Joe. I really, really do. And thank you.
Crenshaw Boulevard,
Ooh.
cars, clubs, hydraulic demolition, man. And when you go back and I mean, there was only one place where hydraulics were displayed like no other boulevard ever like that. It's almost like a demolition derby. I mean, I've seen you in action, and I don't understand how. You had the 68. You like Lincolns.
No.
I love Lincolns. That's a mark of luxury, comfort, leather, all the accessories you can get. And I seen how you take care of them cars and how you just drive them down the street. You need like Caltrans has to get out there and drop cones out there because you take over the street, go against one-way traffic, you're hopping, you're scraping. I mean, you're doing it all. It's one hell of an act. I mean, you're out there destroying that car and the streets, right? But that's what it's all about. And it happens out there on Crenshaw.
Oh, Crenshaw is it. I was paid attention to coming on Crenshaw, probably like 79, 80. My buddies had Volkswagen and Capris. And one day they finally let me get in the car. I'm young, you know what I mean? I'm probably 11 years old or something. And they let me get in the car because I helped them clean their car. They took me on Crenshaw, 80, 80, 80. Oh my gosh, it went epic. I said, look at this. Then moving down the line, I got a chance to get out there myself, like 85. You know what I mean? I get a chance to get on Crenshaw in my first looking car. And I just like, it's going crazy. Then my adrenaline is high. Once I get in the car, honestly, I'll become a whole nother person. I could be calm, cool, and collective now. And the minute I jump in the car and the car is performing right and everything else is going, just like my Lincoln, that had 14 batteries and 5 gates.
The car wasn't heavy enough already.
No,
Why a heavier car to climb like that?
I don't. That's why you put more power.
I mean, there's G bodies out there. There's other lighter cars. No, you got to take Lincolns. You're a big guy yourself, and then you got 14 batteries coming with you, and you got to get up like that on everybody, right?
You got to be higher.
Rick Burrell was here one of our episodes. Low Life Hydraulics.
Yeah.
Yeah. He came out one day. It was his grand opening for him to hit the boulevard. He went down Crenshaw, hung a left, three-wheel motion. A world of his own, he told us. He remembers his first time. He went down there, and then all of a sudden he just heard, he even has the noises. And he goes, what the heck's that noise? He could hear it coming. He's looking in his side view mirror, and he sees the undercarriage of a Lincoln, a Mark 6 coming down the road. If it was a Mark 6, it was a Lincoln.
Yeah.
And he's doing his thing. He's trying to enjoy it, but there's a distraction coming down the boulevard, and then finally you catch up to him. And he sees it. He says, I see a front end of a Lincoln. He catches up to me, and we're door by door. And you made a comment to me. He loves you to death for that.
Yes. I fell in love with Lincolns. The first time I seen a Lincoln cut was Louis Gant out of Compton.
Yeah.
Had the pattern top, 1973 patterns, beautiful car. I said, "Oh, I want one day." That was it. It wasn't my turn.
A Lincoln like town cars?
The
or the Mark 5?
The Mark 5. 73 is a Mark 5, right? Or
73 is the Mark 4.
It's a Mark 4.
Yeah,
exactly.
Those are badass.
Yeah, so he had the Mark 4 with the overlight window on the side, patterns on it. Then later on down the line, I see Rob Parker, Boulevard. He had his Lincoln.
He had a Mark 5?
He had a Mark 5.
Was it the brown one? Yeah.
There was the brown one. So now I get in trouble in school, forget it. Move to San Diego. Mom's kicked me out. I moved to San Diego, come out of Compton, go to Diego. I get introduced to Keith Dunn. Keith Dunn he had Coffin Lincoln. Blue, burnt up on titanium, flamed the car up, messed up. Boom. And then I met CO. CO at 1980 had a town coupe. They only made them 2 years, 80 and 81. He had a town coupe, bought it from the lot, brought it to his party on Zenith's. Keith Dunn come back over here with his red Thunderbird with the suicide doors. You probably met it, split hood, Hollywood.
Yeah.
I drove that car to school. I used to drive that car to school because I went to Lincoln High. And that turned me on to the Fords. That guy and that Thunderbird, bro, I said, look how this car ride. You know, because I'm riding the Chevys and everything, and we just having fun. We still moving. But when you put that Motor Trans car of the year Lincoln suspension on hydraulics, man, that was like floating. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Lonzo Turner had a Cadillac, the 77 with the chop top.
Yeah.
The first one that was done on the cover. I learned from him. I grew up around him. And I'm like, look how this low ride thing is. But that Lincoln, I couldn't help it. My first Lincoln, I had 5 gates in it, 4 to the front, 14 batteries. My second one, the white Knight, that one had 16 batteries and 6 gates. And I just wanted to get there fast. I didn't care. At the 50 something inches, you up there. I just wanted to get there fast. 2 hits, 3 hits, I'm done.
What is up with Crenshaw Boulevard? You have to have multiple switches and at least 15 batteries that go down there or don't show up.
No, you can cruise. It's a
You could get
cruise.
embarrassed too.
Oh, you'll get embarrassed. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna get embarrassed if you're not on Crenshaw ready to go.
I've heard all the stories, man, and I know you've got more.
Yeah.
Who are the legends? Who would you say are the well-known names that kind of ran that place or owned it or they performed at this height or had this or first cars? Who's got names out there?
Wow, that's a lot. I can.
There's a lot of them.
That's a lot, bro. Because every weekend is a new one coming out. Back in the '80s and the
Yeah.
'90s,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. You had it because I could just say it. You know, Rat was one
Okay.
that rock and roll did. I could never take that away. Uh, I seen Slow Bob from Mafia for Life. He brought the '68 Tanium. A lot of people didn't used to seeing it. I grew up watching Tanium, but he did it. Uh, man, Charles Clayton, I give him that,
Yeah.
because he came out every 4th of July, he built a different car. Uh, Dale Dog, when he came out with the Lincoln, he had the '63 Chevy that was hot. You got Punchy, you know what I mean? He rock and rolled it for a while. Uh, man,
What about the culture there? I mean, there's a lot of people that know or heard about Crenshaw Boulevard, but have never been there actually. What is the culture like down there? What is the crowd like? Do you have, there's those one idiot that's going to mess it up for everybody? How were the cops? Because you got an exhibition of hydraulics going on left and right all over the place. What do the cops do? Just stand back and watch, or they don't even show up?
well, back when we was growing up, we was overpowering it.
Yeah.
But down the line, they built a team and a force to come against us,
Mm-hmm.
to shut us down. We built a relationship now. They just don't want us to bother the service road. You can cruise
Mm-hmm.
because they know cruising is legal, so you can cruise. But on the sideline, on the side roads, you can perform your car, but just don't overdo it. And usually now people just go take a fade around the corner. If your car hop higher than the other car, I'll meet you around the corner. Let's go get off. Come back to Crenshaw. Act a donkey.
They appreciate what they have. They don't take it for granted. So
No,
everybody pretty much behaves.
everybody,
That's good,
they're
man.
coming together.
Yeah.
They're coming together. If you look at it, the whole culture came together way better than it ever been
Yeah.
because it takes people like you and I, that ain't scared to talk to anybody, to try to pull anybody in. So Crenshaw is his own monster. It's great. I'm glad that I have the opportunity and a chance to host it. Basically, I have a team, the NLRA, that support me. I have
National Lowrider
National Lowrider Association.
Association.
You know what I'm saying? Founder.
So
was
what does
Gary
that consist of? You're the founder?
May. No, Gary May was the founder, and Tommy Baber.
For everybody,
Somebody else.
Gary May, I met Gary May way back. Met him maybe a couple of times. Yes. I knew him when he was Gary May,
Yes.
and he was in the hydraulics. Really nice.
Yes.
Came up, introduced himself. We talked a little bit. It was my early stages, the club and where we were going. Everything was going on at that time. Car shows were opening up. They were up
Yep.
north, everywhere, right?
Yep.
I met him, and then he took off from there. His name just got bigger and bigger. I never really had a chance to go back and talk to him again, but I only remember that instant, couple of them when I talked to him, and then legend, and then he leaves us, and those are guys that you need. Man, he is so well loved to this day,
Yes.
and he was here for just a short time, man. I wish he was still here, but
I wanted to be a part of that.
yeah,
To watch him, to not really to know him, but to watch him was something that when it came my turn and the association came in my hands, I said, I'm going to fight for that because the National Lowrider Association, you know what I mean? It represents the culture of lowriding. A lot of people don't even remember it was Hispanics and blacks in it.
Hmm.
I seen some shirts with the National Lowrider Association, the guy with the 63 Chevy Hoppin' High convertible. I've seen it recently on the DVD and watched him turn around. He got the National Lowrider Association on there. I'm like, for real? Then I find out 79 is when it started and it moved forward, but then it died out. Because you know how people don't believe your dream and your vision. So everybody don't believe it.
But for anybody to put the word national before low riding, it's big, and we are big, and we're out there trying to show everybody. Now it's worldwide. So national, it's like Raider Nation.
Yes.
It's bigger than that.
Yes.
They're the biggest losing team ever in the last 4 decades, but they got more fans than anybody.
Yeah.
I'm still a fan, but Los Angeles Raiders. But I'm just saying.
Okay.
But you get that association together. Are there different car clubs involved in it? Different presidents helping out, or
We're revamping this right now.
Okay.
It has got, it got up to one time, it was over 50, 60 clubs involved.
yeah,
And you know how it goes. People come in it, tear it up from the core, building it back. The name is gargantuous. The city recognizes everything else. We're just building the people back together. You know, we have a good, strong core. In the community, we're doing good, but it's, y'all, you know how it is. It's a fight.
yeah. But you're trying to represent all low riding, and then people come in there under that spotlight and they want to take over, and they see that many people that's national, and yeah, I want to be in the spotlight. I want to talk. I want to be that guy, and it's not. No, that's not the purpose.
No,
It's for everyone.
it's for everybody. Anybody can, you can have the national do an event for you any given time if you need help. You know what I mean? Because we represent all of us, just like how you do original. You know what I'm saying, Lowrider? You took on your thing.
Had to, because I wanted to use that name to go back to the way it was, and then take it from there and continue on because it had changed. But um, that's all right. We're always fighting the good fight to improve our image. Yes, help it grow, but don't forget what it took to get to this part, because you could ruin it in 1 week. You could ruin all of it.
Woo.
Low riding has changed a lot since back then, right?
Yes.
Crenshaw, the whole area, low riding, having all these chapters worldwide. You can see the difference in low riding today. I just talked about the population and how big it's grown and how more nationalities are into it. There's goods and bads, but what are mostly all the goods that you see? You're a good guy.
I see unity. I see understanding. I see the love is learning. I see where the unity part is where all nationalities getting together. So I really appreciate that. I'm heavy into that. Uh, I see now people switching ideas on cars. I
Yeah.
see people learning off of each other cars how to do it. I noticed the artwork in the hydraulics is way different and better. I really like that.
You don't see them breaking down.
No, they're not as breaking down. The hydraulics are stronger than the car now. That's the crazy part. You remember when we was growing up, the hydraulics was weaker than the car. You could ride over a train track and it'd slam on the ground because the hose was weak. Now, you can fly over a train track and they'll stay up. Well, they don't lay too much anyway now. You know, it's
Yeah,
not.
I don't get that part.
Nah, they don't get that. You
I
know,
don't want to scratch my undercarriage.
nah,
I don't care about your chrome undercarriage.
no,
That car's made to lay out.
yes. Yeah, they're
It
supposed to
looks
lay out.
better like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, but it makes us all good at the end of the day. Things have changed so much to speak that a guy like you that doesn't get out there in front of a mic
No,
or get in a spotlight and get a chance to share with everybody what you're all about, what your club's all about. If you stay back because you're a nice guys finish last, and you get these other guys that come in because of the cell phone era now, and they come in, the beepers are gone and all that, and they come in real quick and boom, they take your 40 years, and in 4 years that they've been around it, they act like they've been doing it forever, and they take the limelight away, and nice guys just get pushed back all the time. You see that a lot out there
I'll see that every day. I live that
every
life.
day, huh?
I live that life. Me personally, I go through that all the time. But you know what I learned to behind that? They got to deal with that.
At the
You
end
got
of
to
the
deal
day,
with
they
that.
do.
You live behind a lie,
Yeah.
or if you're not doing it the way you say you're doing it, you have to deal with that. I don't have to deal with that. I do it for the culture. I do it for the love. So me personally, as Big the White, That's what I care about. I care about what it takes, for us to keep low riding. Because if you remember, it was dead at one time. You know,
Yeah, it faded away. The mini truck saved us. The Euros saved us. The Volkswagens, I've always said.
yep,
What are the bylaws? They have to be bylaws. Those traditions have to be followed to keep that many chapters going.
yep,
You have bylaws, rules, written rules for the whole club, standards that they all have to abide by.
yep. Right now, we upgrading our rules and standards. You know, because like one of our used to be main rules that you had to have chrome undercarriage. That's played out. You know what I mean?
That's a
Now
lot
you
of
got
money and
that's
time.
too much time. You'll build a whole car by just building the undercarriage. So now these days, factory clean cars we accept forward. They got to look like 1977 Regal from the dealer, 1964 Chevy from the dealer, whatever car your preference is. It's a dealer looking car, upgraded hydraulic wheels. You're good. No airbags. That's one of our major ones. Ours.
What's the what's a chain of command with the individuals? President, vice president on down?
Yeah.
How do you guys run that operation?
So right now is vice president. No, sorry, president, vice president, sergeant at arms. We have 3 sergeant at arms. So
Paddles?
huh?
The paddles or no?
No, heck, no, bro.
Belts?
No.
Guns? Nothing
Understand
like
it.
that?
Understanding or get booted out.
Okay.
Bottom line, it ain't we're not even tolerating, everybody forgave and hope things work out better. But at the end of the day, a person will mark themselves out.
Yeah.
They will make themselves, if you know somebody bad and he keep being around, he gonna show his bad energy, his bad person, his bad character. Then the team won't like him no more. Your whole chapter, club, or anybody will be like, that dude no good. And vice president, we got vice president, president, sergeant of arms, we have business coordinator. That helped a lot. So that's
Business quarter is,
yeah, that's not a secretary.
no.
You know what I mean? The
It's
secretary
slash what? Treasurer also or
slash treasurer
Okay.
for right now.
yeah.
But because it's hard to trust people with the money. So business coordinator is that. The money breaks everybody.
It's hard to trust the treasurers when they have a real nice car.
What? Oh my God! How did they get that?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he can have a better job or got inherited for all we know. But they're gonna talk bad about you right off the dribble.
Dwight, you're a big character, man. I found that out especially when I was looking around Eldorado Park for somebody to speak up, take that camera and jump up in front of the whole crowd, and you had your whole club surrounding you and you spoke very well. We had some fun there at Eldorado Park for the 45th. Watched you from afar, did my homework on you, asked around, try to find out who you were then, who you are now, and pretty much guess where you're heading. And we had original lowrider legends
Yes.
for 2023,
Yes.
and you were nominated and elected into the class,
Thank
the honor award of original, because that's your character, man. Being that character, you were recognized in 2023, but before that and now, your personality and who you are, if you were preaching, if I put you up there on the pulpit and you had to preach to the low riding church, what is it that you look for and what you would like to do to make low riding even better
To me,
as a role model?
as a role model, I'm interested in myself. I call myself the lowrider life coach because from experience, that's what a coach does.
Mm-hmm.
Teaches the ones how to do it and do it better. Life is having my own personal experience with my beginning of low riding. So to watch low riding went from too much competition to too much jealousy to too much envy. You got to remember it was hard growing up to be a low rider. Hard as ever. I didn't never even think of that because growing up in Compton, you had to kind of, fight your battles to become who you was. And when you had a low rider, you really, because I remember watching them getting stole from under bedroom windows and everything. It was like, whoa. And you had to learn how to be strong. And these days moving forward, you have to be strong, and I don't care, me personally, what they say about Joe Ray. Bottom line, to my experience, I see one thing. I see a strong man that's working to keep the culture going. I like that. That's what makes me and you to me Jones and get together. I want that around the world. I watched you stand up and have a show. I watched you ask them on one day what group of guys is from what side of town, what group of guys is from another side of town, and the middle was one group, the end was the next, and there was no confrontation. I want that. That's why we do First Sunday on Crenshaw. It's to bring everybody together and we can work our differences out. Shake hands and walk away. Your car beat my car, it beat. Next. I don't need to be yelling and acting donkey and all that. I know it's part of the hype, but the disrespect is a whole nother situation. I want it to be fair. They making the cars too hard to build now because of these prices. And I remember yo auntie stitch clothes. She knew how to stitch material.
Hmm.
These cars wasn't built on these prices. They was, refurbished cars from they call them demon cars because they brought back from the dead. When my parents was growing up, they were like, "You better not get that demon car," because I grew up in a church environment. Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. And my parents and them was like, "No, you can't have that." So I had to sneak my low rider down the street and come home and act like I ain't doing nothing and go back. I would like the culture to keep doing what it's doing by expanding because now you go to different communities. I could go to IE, enjoy it. I could go to Los Angeles now, enjoy it. It ain't no people going in between each other with that. I love San Diego. You can go enjoy it. You come to Compton, you can enjoy it. I go to LA because when I was growing up, LA and Compton really didn't, they wasn't the best of friends and in the lowrider world, and they was just like heavy competition. Now they're more friendly with each other, and I like that with all race and all people.
The individuals talking about events like that, the individuals are going to get together again
Oh,
for 4th of July or.
oh yes, we're getting ready for our 50. So our 49th year anniversary right now we're doing is first day we're gonna be at El Dorado Park. That's us again, 49th. The second day, we're doing a dance with performance like Jail Felony, King T, and a few other artists, an old school throwback party that we're gonna do. And we're doing that. And then the third day, that'll be July 6th, we're on Crenshaw for the cruise. So yeah, we're getting ready for the 50th. The 50th is gonna be a bash.
As we come to a close to the show, actually, it's not a close. You'll come back on here again. You'll bring some other guests. You're very well spoken. You come from a religious environment. You're up here preaching the good word. And that's what I do, and that's what you do. And we all need help, right?
Yes, we
That's
do.
why I have you up here. When it comes out to shout outs, people in your life that influenced you, that were mentors to you got to give them their thanks. Who would they be?
Oh, for one, I could start off thanking my mother and father because thank the Lord once. Let's go there. And my mother and father, because they was always in the cars. They didn't low ride it, but they had old school new cars, everything else. So I give a shout out to my mother and father. You know what I mean? I give a shout out to my first peers that I remember is Ronnie Como. He had the Monte Carlo at the Suicide Doors. Dee Dee Tate, Dino Austin. They was good friends of mine that did it. Bird, Meathead, Onion. That was the Folk Club. That was uh, Louis Gant.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's just the beginning stage. To jump into the middle, uh, Keith Dunn, Kevin Porter, Kevin Mitchell, Kevin Standers of San Diego, CO. CO is like a blessing to me. The Black No Rod Association now that's coming together by Mark Forte. Uh, moving on forward, I appreciate Public Enemy. I love the individuals. Uh, Man, come on now. Let's keep going. Supernatural, Rat. Thank you. He had patience with me. because I was kind of like a disrespect, and he gave me my props. You know what I'm saying? I even bring up Tweet, because that was one of my childhood friends that we ran together.
These are all like upbringings for you.
Yeah, these are all of us.
And besides the individuals being around almost 50 years, El Dorado Park, this whole conversation we had, you guys had your share of well-known award-winning cars too from all over the place.
Yes.
You want to name a couple of those famous names?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah.
That'll be another show.
That's another show because I give thanks Kuda, give him honor and respect for coming up with the name,
Mhm.
to passing it down to Charles Clayton. I'm always gonna give Charles Clayton his props because he was a strong man. Phil, Phil was the president of our club. He was a strong man. You got Lolo, that's the yellow 66 that was
Right.
out at the yellow 4, and then at the Lolo is Dwight. And all my members beforehand, from past to today, I thank y'all because it takes a lot to keep us together. All these car clubs, it takes a lot to keep us together. Just have understanding with each other. If you have a problem, find a way to go talk to one of them. Don't make it a bigger problem because we all know paint prison is a problem now, interior problem now. It's the funnest thing right now. It's easy to get your frame done and your hydraulics put in it. And when we started this, that was the hardest thing of all. Because you go prime a car up or put a 1-a-day on it, and your interior, basically, when you found the car, is done. Now we got to just keep working with each other. And that's really what I feel. I feel this personally.
Low riding will take care of itself from there.
Low riding will take care of itself. You can say that again.
So, the good word, how do we get a hold of you to hear some more before you come back on the show again?
Oh my.
How do we get a hold of you? I mean,
Okay.
NLRA.
You could get at me through NLRA_office. You could get to me on Instagram, Individual Worldwide CC. That's me. You get in touch with me through Joe Ray.
Yeah.
That's a personal friend that will contact me. Anybody that
Thank you.
want to talk to me. Them is my basically platforms. That you could email individuals. Wow, did I just say that? Individuals. It's a new one. You can go on our webpage.
Right.
Individual got a webpage. Anybody that goes on our webpage, if you want to get with any member in our club, it's somebody that will respond to you on that part.
Or if not, they'll come out to you on the streets or
Oh,
at the shows.
First Sunday,
Or a local picnic anniversary,
Yep,
right?
first Sunday. You guarantee you can catch me on Crenshaw. 4th of July. If no other day, if you can't catch me in a year, you catch me at Individuals 4th of July celebration.
Just look for a Lincoln Continental.
Oh my gosh, I'm building one now.
All right, everybody. There you go. Another episode of the Wired Down Show. Big Dwight. That's with 2 G's. Remember that? That was on your award.
Yes.
You deserve all of that. Mr. Original himself, Mr. Individual himself just as well. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thank everybody out there. Also, thanks goes out to everybody that supports this event. And that's why we're all here, our show. Thanks, buddy.
Peace and love.
All right, everybody. Next show.